5-year-old girl walked into the dog shelter and almost immediately noticed what everyone else was walking straight past. In the 7th kennel, a small Dalmatian puppy was curled up tightly in the corner. He didn't move. He didn't look up. He looked completely broken. This puppy trusted no one, and that's what happened next. Forced the staff to watch the surveillance footage over and over again. The staff had tried everything, but he had stopped eating and was getting weaker every day. Until this moment, Maya grew up feeling like she didn't belong anywhere. Every morning, she looked in the mirror at the soft white patches on her face, hands, and arms. She didn't know the word vitiligo. She just knew that when she walked into a room, people stared a little too long. At school, it was the worst. Kids whispered, pointed, and laughed. The moment the bell rang, Maya would run home, change clothes, and hurry into the yard. That's where everything changed. Every single day, a scruffy little stray dog would come running into their yard. Maya Feder, threw the ball for hours, walked with her around the fence, and then sat quietly on the grass while the dog rested her head on her lap. The stray never stared at her spots. She didn't laugh. She just wagged her tail, licked Maya's hands, and listened as the little girl told her everything. In those moments, Maya felt light, happy, and completely herself. No judgment, no whispers, just pure love. Her parents noticed how her whole face lit up around dogs. They saw how school drained her, but 1 hour with that stray dog brought her back to life. When Maya turned 6, they decided to do something special. Instead of buying a puppy right away, they signed her up for a children's dog interaction program. On the very first day, Maya came home glowing. "Mom, the dogs liked me," she said with sparkling eyes. She talked non-stop about how calm she felt and how one shy dog even came to her. Week after week, the instructors were amazed. Dogs that barked at other kids stayed quiet around Maya. Big, strong German shepherds listened to her soft voice and followed her commands with respect. Even the most nervous or aggressive ones relaxed the moment she approached. In just 1 month, Maya had better results than anyone else in the group. She had a natural gift. One evening, she ran to her parents, eyes shining with pride. "Mom, Dad, I can really help them. The dogs trust me. Even the big ones listen to me." Her parents smiled, their hearts full. The very next day, they took her to a real shelter called Friendly Paws. While the other kids got loud and excited, Maya moved quietly from kennel to kennel, giving each dog her calm attention. Then she stopped at the very last one. Inside sat a small, thin Dalmatian puppy curled up and barely moving. His food bowl was untouched. The staff had warned everyone. He had been attacked by other dogs, trusted no one, and was slowly giving up. Maya crouched down in front of the bars. The puppy didn't even lift his head. She stayed there, patient and calm, then spoke softly. "I'm like you." She raised her hands gently so the light caught the white patches on her skin. "Look, I have spots, too." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the puppy slowly lifted his head and looked straight at her hands. Maya didn't move closer. She just whispered, "It's okay, I understand." That's when something shifted. The puppy stood up on shaky legs, took one step, then another, until he reached the front of the kennel. He pushed his nose through the bars and started licking her fingers. Fast, excited, full of sudden life, the staff froze. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. This was the same puppy who had shut everyone out for weeks. They rewatched the security footage multiple times that day because a broken little dog who trusted no one had just opened his heart to a girl who knew exactly how it felt to be different. From that moment, everything changed. The next day after school, Maya could barely wait. She begged her parents to take her back to the shelter right away, and from then on, she came every single day without missing a single one. As soon as she arrived, she would run straight to his kennel, drop to her knees, and sit right beside the bars. She fed him gently from her own hand, spoke to him in her soft, calm voice for hours, telling him about her day at school, about the kids who stared, about her dreams. She stayed much longer than any other child ever did, sometimes until the shelter lights started to dim, and slowly, day by day, the broken little Dalmatian began to come back to life. He started eating again. First, only when she held the food in her palm, then happily finishing his whole bowl, even when she stepped back a little. The moment he heard her familiar voice in the hallway, He would stand up on his still shaky legs and press himself against the front of the kennel, tail wagging weakly at first, then stronger and happier with every visit. He waited for her with hope shining in his eyes. On the few days when Maya couldn't come because of school events or family things, the staff saw a completely different dog. He curled up tightly in the farthest corner, refused to eat or drink, and sometimes let out a quiet, heartbreaking little cry that echoed through the quiet shelter rooms. "He's waiting for her." One of the workers whispered one evening, "He only feels safe and happy when Maya's here. Without her, he just shuts down again." They decided to look deeper into the puppy's past. The rescue report said he'd been found badly injured on the side of a quiet road. A young girl had stayed with him for hours in the cold, talking to him gently and protecting him until help finally arrived. She'd even covered him with her own jacket. When the little Dalmatian puppy first arrived at the shelter, he was completely terrified. He was shaking so badly that his whole body trembled uncontrollably. The staff didn't even want to put him in a kennel at first. They were afraid he might hurt himself from pure fear. He just pressed himself into the farthest corner of the room, eyes wide with panic, refusing to move or eat. Only after several quiet days did he finally allow them to gently move him into a kennel. Even then, he stayed curled up tight in the back, silent and withdrawn, as if he had decided never to trust the world again. When the staff looked at Maya and saw how deeply this little Dalmatian reacted to her, the way his whole body lit up, everything suddenly made perfect sense. After a few weeks, Maya looked at her parents with big, hopeful eyes and asked again, her voice trembling a little, "Can we take him home? Please, I think he needs me as much as I need him." This time her parents didn't answer right away. They went to the shelter together and watched carefully for a long time. They saw how the little Dalmatian's whole body came alive the second Maya walked through the door, how his eyes brightened, how he followed her every move, how he ate only when she fed him, how he leaned into her gentle touch like she was his whole world. They understood. This wasn't just a dog growing attached to a girl. This was two lonely souls who had finally found each other. So, they said yes. The day Maya finally took him home was pure magic. The puppy walked right beside her on the leash, head held high, steps confident, as if he had always belonged with her. He didn't look back at the shelter even once. The very next morning, her parents took them both to the vet. The doctor examined the little Dalmatian carefully and gave good news. He was physically healthy, no serious injuries remained, and he was growing well. But the vet also noticed something else. Deep inside, the puppy was still carrying a lot of fear. Loud noises made him flinch. Sudden movements caused him to freeze, and he still needed time to feel truly safe. Maya listened quietly, then nodded with determination in her eyes. From that day on, she created her own special plan to help him heal without any stress. Every morning, they went for calm, gentle walks together, just the two of them, at their own slow pace. She never pulled the leash or rushed him. When he got scared, she stopped, knelt down, and spoke softly until he relaxed again. In the afternoons, she fed him at the exact same time every day. Always from her hand at first, then from his bowl while she sat right beside him. She turned every meal into a quiet, trusting moment. She also made up simple, fun exercises, throwing the ball very softly so he could chase without feeling chased, playing hide-and-seek with treats, and sitting together for long, peaceful minutes, where she would gently stroke his back while talking about her day. Little by little, the fear that still lived in him started to melt away. Over the next few months, the small, fragile puppy transformed completely. His thin body filled out with healthy weight. His ribs disappeared. His black and white coat became shiny and bright. His movements turned strong and playful, and his eyes sparkled with joy, curiosity, and life again. But the most beautiful thing never changed. He stayed close to Maya, always. They played together in the yard for hours, chasing balls, rolling in the grass, and tumbling over each other. They walked around the neighborhood side by side, exploring every street and park, and often they just sat quietly together on the warm grass, enjoying the peaceful silence that felt warmer and safer than any words could ever be. And something wonderful started happening at school, too. Maya began to smile more easily. She spoke up in class without fear. She stopped hiding her hands and her face. When kids asked about her spots, she answered calmly, sometimes even with a small, proud smile. because now she carried a quiet, unbreakable strength inside her heart. She had learned one of the most important lessons life can teach. Being different doesn't mean you're alone. Sometimes it just means you haven't met the one who sees your spots and loves you even more because of them. Every single afternoon, the moment the front door opened and Maya stepped inside, the Dalmatian would come running full speed from wherever he was, tail wagging wildly, jumping up with pure happiness, and covering her face and hands with joyful kisses, because in a world where both of them once felt out of place and misunderstood, they had found each other, and that was more than enough. This story really touched me deeply, so I decided to share it with you. Your touching noses. EW. That tickles. You're silly.